Daddy got me. I remember when we lived on that. I was having a problem getting it.
Billy asked me to say a few words, and we kind of talked about what should I talk about. And we talked about history of the park and history of the league, and I think we agreed that Donnie's going to talk about some of the history of the league. I'm talking because primarily my father, for a large or significant time in the league's history, was the president of the league. So I just wanted to share a few thoughts that I had about playing baseball at Powderly Park. One of the things I wanted to do is, and I won't, with being so crowded, I won't ask you, but everybody in here that either played or had a specific or had some connection to your mama or daddy and was involved in the park, would you raise your hand? That's a pretty good number. And I want to thank Billy and I think Janie, and I'm not sure who else was involved in pulling this all together, but I think they did a great job. One of the things that I think is, let's give them a hand. One of the things that I think is so special about today, at least for me, is I've gotten to see some people that I never dreamed, that I had pretty much at my age decided I was never going to see again. And I hope you had the same experience and saw some people that you never expected to see again. Ricky Lee's one of them. Roddy Williams is one. Is Mike Robbins here? He was supposed to be here, and I was hoping to see him. But I was trying to think about what to say, and since it was Father's Day this past weekend, and I was still pondering what I was going to say, I thought it's important that we take a moment and think about and remember what our fathers and our mothers did to make Powderly Baseball Park possible. Because without them, we wouldn't have gotten to do what we did. We wouldn't have gotten to have the fun that we did, and we wouldn't be here today having this enjoyable gathering. So take a moment and think about, and if you're lucky enough to still have them, tell them thanks when you leave here. I tried to remember some names of the folks that got the park started, and I think Donnie's got some. I finally found the list, but I think I'm going to let Donnie do that. I know one of the people that I thought of was Mr. Knight. And one of the things that I remember about Mr. Knight was his intensity at practice. And Larry and Randy and Ricky and anybody else that got out there on the field and took infield from Mr. Knight knew how intense he was, because he could hit infield harder than anybody you've ever seen, and he didn't hold anything back. So Mr. Knight is one of the people that I really remember. I had some really great times. Some of the best times of my life was at Powderly Park, and I've had some pretty good times. And some of them I can remember, and some of them I can't remember for various reasons. But thinking about being asked to speak gave me the opportunity to think back about people and events and what happened there. because, you know, you forget about things like that through the years. And it's really been a pleasure just to stop and try to figure out who was who and remember the things we did and the fun times we had. Most of the time when we were, during that time of our lives, there was we had very few cares. There wasn't that many things that we had to worry about. Some of us had some legitimate things to be concerned about, but most of the time we wake up in the morning, for me anyway, and you thought about baseball. And I feel sorry for kids now that they don't seem to have that kind of intensity about something because of so many other things that interfere, but we thought about baseball. We played wiffle ball, we played catch, we found a way to play ball during the day. I was hoping Mike would be here because I was going to point out that when we played wiffle ball, Mike Robbins was far and away the best play-by-play person during the wiffle ball game. He was always the Yankees, and he always won. But he did a great play-by-play. We went and played. We tried to play tennis, if Rick can remember. We didn't know what we were doing. In fact, I went back and looked it up in the encyclopedia to see how you kept score at tennis, because we were just doing 1 and 2 and 3 and that kind of thing. But we played par 3 golf. We hung out. We cruised around, and of course later on, there was girls was a factor in there. So that was an important thing that we started waking up and thinking about, and going to sleep and thinking about too, probably. My parents were both very dedicated to the baseball and to the league. Of course, my father stayed at the league, at the park all the time, to my mother's chagrin. But even when my father passed away, on game days, and I had it real tough. On game days, I didn't have to cut the grass, and I didn't have to do anything strenuous, just so I would be ready to play that night. So that was a pretty good mom. You know, the field was built on a garbage dump, and you probably also remember the smells and the rocks. And I don't know if we ever got rid of the rocks, but we certainly, if you played infield, you learned how to play a hop that did some crazy things. But at that time, it's right here where I can see it, my father became the president of the league. And certainly there were advantages of having a father that was president of the league. I had easy access to the concession stand, and I had easy access to the press box. I could go up and hang out in the press box. But probably the best thing about it was about once a month, my dad would go to Dixie Sporting Goods, and Dixie was a sporting goods company that was owned by one of my uncle's very good friends, so that was another connection. But when we went to Dixie, before we left, I got to go into the huge, or it seemed huge at the time, bat room with bats to the ceiling, and I always got to pick out a free bat from any one of them. And then we would play, everybody wanted to use my bat. And some people could hit a lot better with my bat than I could. Another special event that I'm sure very few people, and this is important event in history. My father's '55 Chevrolet station wagon, which I drove back and forth up and down the driveway, learning how to clutch it. Was out on the field where he was doing some maintenance on the field late one afternoon, and I said, "Dad, can I put my bicycle in the back of the station wagon and catch a ride home?" And he said, "Sure, no problem, but you drive." And so my first actual driving of a car, and I raced a go-kart some, but my actual driving of a car, I did 3 laps around the field, and I drove out the gate and drove home. And then I drove my daddy nuts every day from that point on. I was 13. Never stopped driving, drove all over Birmingham, parallel parked in front of a policeman in downtown on 2nd and 3rd Avenue when I was 14. So, fortunately, I had a good heavy beard back then, too. Probably the most important thing, and I'm just about finished, the most important thing for me at the ballpark, and the thing that I will always remember and cherish the most, was it gave me an opportunity to be around my dad. And it did that, I'm sure, for a lot of us. When I walked up and said, "Hey, Dad, can I have a dime?" he'd grumble and then usually come up with a dime. And later on, it became a quarter. Also, the other treat was standing around listening to the...
Wait a second.
Listening to my daddy talk to the other league officials, or, you know, Mr. Hodges, Mr. Knight, whoever that he was talking to about stuff, until it was about to get serious, and then Daddy would say, "Go on." And I did. But it was still one of the enjoyable things. The most and the proudest part of all, and you know, this is just something that I've always wanted to say and never really had a chance to say it, was, you know, when I came up to bat, after, you know, and if you don't know, they ended up naming the field after my dad. It was Clifford A. Andrews Field. And the great thing, it was a treat every time that I walked up to the plate and the announcer said, "Clifford Andrews at bat." And I always felt in my mind that there was somebody in the stands that was saying, "Hey, he must be that guy's son." And it made me feel good. It was special. So, here we are today, and you guys know it's been 50 years, or 50 for me, or my dad's been gone 50 years, that was in 63, but it's all, you know, and after you get up 40s and 50s, well, 5 or 10 year span there doesn't really count. So it's been 50 years, and that's what we celebrate today. Thanks again for the folks that put this on or pulled it together, because I know it wasn't easy. I really appreciate it, and you should too. Thank you.
First of all, I'm going to talk about the strikeouts, the shutouts, and maybe a few home runs, and this was just up at the barbecue pit. I think most of you remember that. Our first ballpark was over close to Belcher Lumber Company. W.A. Belcher donated the land for the building, and we played over there for a couple of years, and then Ricky Lee, Dickie Plowman, and Ricky's dad and them got together, and they went and got petitions signed, got over 2,000 names to get the dump made into a ballpark. And W.A. Belcher donated all of the materials to build it afterwards. And some of the people was Clifford's dad, Mr. Knight, Mr. Harold Self, Buster Milford, Mr. Hodges, that's Wayne's dad, Luke Baggett, Johnny Lowe, Ronald Don Ingram's dad, Edward Allen, Mr. Lowry, Mr. Shaddix, Mike's dad, Mr. Owens and his son Harry, Mr. Ellis Watts, Norman Jerry and Linda Collins' dad, Ricky Lee's dad, Mr. Bradshaw, Rob and Mike's dad, Roddy Williams' dad, Jack Bailey. Jack went on to be a coach, and there was Mr. Pitts was the father of James Pitts, and then there was another Mr. Pitts had two sons, Ronnie and Terry, and they put this park together. And that's pretty much the history about it. But I want to tell one little story about a particular fellow, Wayne Hodges. They had played a game and they had lost their first game. Poor Wayne Hodges all they could do was get Wayne off the field. I mean, he was just wore out. He come off the field and he looked up at his dad and he said, "Dad, we lost." And his dad said, "I know, Wayne." He said, "You just got to give 110%, not 100." And then Wayne asked his dad the most important question in Little League baseball history. "Dad, do we still get our free coat?" It's been a pleasure of mine to see all you people here. Enjoyed seeing some of you. Some of you I haven't seen in 40 years. Some, I clearly said 50 years. But it meant a lot to me to play at Fairley Ballpark, even though I only played 2 years, but I made a lot of friends. And really appreciate everybody coming, and I hope everybody had a real nice time.
For being with us here. This is the award ceremony. You got, when you have people like this together, you have to have an award ceremony. And you better listen up now, because there may be something you don't want to know about yourself. But first, I want to give some, this is we'll call a certificate of thank you to certain people first. So, first one is, he's not here, and he's no longer with us, but his wife, Jean Logan. If I can get this to Lash, no, I'd appreciate it if you get that to to Gene for Johnny, okay? Thank you. Coach Jack Bailey. This certificate reads, "In appreciation to Coach Jack Bailey giving his time to making ours better. Thanks for beginning the luncheon." And he did. It started with a conversation between Coach and I, and this is what it came out of, and I hope everybody's having a good time. Coach? I'm going to start, and the next one is Morris and Betty Hodges. God bless you, Miss Hodges. Isn't she beautiful? Amen. But anyway, this is an appreciation too for Morris and Betty Hodges for sharing their lives with others. And we will never forget what you've done. Now it gets to the fun part. Now most of these guys won't admit it, but the reason we came to the park in the first place was because all the girls that showed up and watched us play ball. And we know who you are. The first girl is Kay Snow Owens. And she gets this certificate because she was the best all-around fan at Pirates Park. And she got the award for yelling her guts out. Now, Janie Crappin says she's better. Now, the next one, and this is really it, is for the best all-around fan at Pirate Park. Here we go, Janie Crappin Gardner. And she has been a real help in putting this all together. Thank you so much, Janie. And she also yelled her guts out. In case no says she yelled out. Now, it wouldn't be complete without naming the head cheerleader at Pirate Park. And I did this. It's Linda Fowler. And she's been awarded this certificate because she nominated and elected herself. And by the way, nobody else ran. Now, we've got a good group of people here, but I was hoping to expand it further. We didn't have much response to the younger people. Primarily, and Dinah Sue told me the reason for that was that most of the younger people are still working. And we're having more fun. Richard's still working. Yeah, I am. And this award goes to an Outstanding Player Award to Danny Brown the son of Mr. and Miss Brown, and the Brown family, Dinah Sue, they were all involved in the park. And Danny was there, and he received this certificate for excellence on the field. And you made your family very proud, Danny. Sure have. And I'm gonna give his bio because it's pretty strong. 68, he was in the Cat League, played left field. 69, minor league Braves, second base. 70, Braves and All-Stars, third base and catcher. 71, Yankees All-Stars, third base, catcher, and they were champs. 19-1 the team win. 72, Yankees and All-Stars catcher, batting champ. He hit 14 home runs. Gene Wallace, you ain't done no better than this. His average was 705. And Dixie Hughes, he played for the Cubs and the All-Stars. Also, and I'll mention this a little later, there was a football team. He played on it. He played on the 90-pound team, and he was a defensive tackle and fullback. Also played the 72 and the 100-pound. And he was defensive tackle and fullback. He was also the most valuable player, and he was a homecoming king. We're proud to know the Brown family. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all of them because I've got some stuff down here that nobody needs to know about but the person who gives it to you. Okay? Now, this one goes, this is still complimentary, so we can hang in with this one. Most intelligent player at Private Park, by a long shot, was John Torrey. I don't know where's John at. John is the man that put together Sarge's testimony with the video and the audio. He's put together so many things for us, and I want to give him a hand in particular because nobody knows what he does and the work it takes to put this together. Thank you, John. I love you, man. By the way, he always outsmarted himself, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to play ball. Let me do this with Clifford Andrews. He said he was the best left-handed player at Pirate. And he wanted this award over Gary Sparks. Gary voted for Cliff too. I'm gonna do one more, and I'm just gonna hand them all out and let you see them. This one goes, and let me just mention this. We've got people coming from the Carolinas. We got people who came all the way, Roddy Williams came all the way from Orlando, Florida. And we got Mike Shattuck from Atlanta, and I don't know if Mike Robbins came or not, but there's a lot of people in Thomasville, Alabama, Randy Knight and his brother Larry, and they came. Oh, man, it's something. But anyway, he got this award because nobody else wanted it. Being to keep your daytime job. I've got something for everybody, so I'm not going to go any further. I want you to read it and share it with your friends. You may not want to, because some of it's pretty tasteless. Mike Shattuck, he's still here. This is for you, Mike. Read it and share it if you want to. I got Mike. I'll give him. Hey, Mike. Good to see you. All the way from Atlanta. Richard Beckman. Oh, wait, I got to tell about Richard. And Sarge got me on this one. Richard received the Triple Play Award. Now, this is true. He probably doesn't remember it. You remember this, Richard? Okay. Ain't nothing humble about Richard. And you can ask Coach Haggard, this actually happened, and Sarge told me that, well, he's here, but he did make a legitimate triple play, and he didn't know what to do after he got it through with it. He said, what happens now? And they told him to get off the field. And I'm going to try to cover these people that came a long way. I'm sorry, I'm getting long-winded. Y'all know y'all getting tired. But this is for Roddy Williams. Roddy came from Orlando, Florida. Where are you at, Roddy? Now this is especially good. He wasn't. He's a nice looking young man. This award was given to the hardest hitting skinny boy, Roddy Williams. He was a thinker too, because he said if got more hits, he didn't have to pitch as long. So he'd keep the inning going, you know what I mean? And actually, the reverse could be true also. I'm gonna hand the rest of these out. I got one for almost everybody. If I missed you, I still love you. Johnny Blackstock. Johnny here? Okay, Johnny came from Atlanta. He's here. Johnny had to leave. I'm too long-winded. Randy Knight came all the way from Thomasville. Larry Knight. You get this from your brother there, Larry. Oh, there you are, Larry. Walter Johnson. You're a lot of trouble, I'm sorry. Now there's Harry Owens. His daddy was really involved in the organization. He was like my second dad. I got more whipping from him than I did my mom. I gotta read this, but Tony's gonna get mad at me. But this is Tony Montalbano. He played a couple years at Pirate, but Tony was the godfather of Pirate Park. He controlled all illegal activity at Pirate, and he paid well too. Now Tony, I will hide. He's still here? Okay, Tony. Herbert Gray, you still here, Herbert? Herbert had to go. We're too long-winded. All right. Jerry Vines, the best shortstop ever at Pirate Park. He voted for himself, but Gene Wallace thinks otherwise. So I got him an award too as the best shortstop, Gene Wallace. Jerry Vines disagreed. And the last part of that trio is the worst shortstop at Pirate Park, and that was me. I could catch a ball. If you put it toward me, I'd catch it. My problem was I didn't know where first base was to throw mine. No one disagrees with that. Ronnie Widener. Ronnie still Rat. He got a football award. And how many people know we had a football team? Danny played on it. Wayne Hodges. Now this man here, his daddy was so special to me. I could go on and on, but he got voted the best player in Pirate football. But he says he's better than Rat Widener. I guess so. He owed me $10. Only $10, right? Leroy Allen here. David Sherman here. I'm getting them I know Ricky. John Noble's making. Ricky Lee. You better read this. I got to say something about this man. A guy named Roy Sims. He played at West End, he played at Pirate, and he was a heck of a pitcher. He played on our All-Star team. But we gave him the best pitcher award because we didn't have many pitchers in the first place. But he also led the team at West End High School to beat us 37 to something. I don't think we got much of something. But he did that while Coach Wilson was there, and that was a special treat for him. All right, Wayne Cobb. Where you at, Wayne? Look at that. Wayne Coleman. Here you go, Wayne. And that's Wayne. Terry Collins. You still here, Terry? Don Lingley. And I don't know which one's which, still don't. And Ronald Lingley. Pass up there. James Foster here, did he make it? Tommy Zito, you here? All right, we'll get this to Tommy. Larry Snow.
He's a but, you know,
Gary Sparks. There's a picture of the teams on the smooth. This is my brother, I'll get him later. Donnie Lane. He gone? And you gotta hide. Don't show this to anybody, Donnie. Is Wesley Albritton here? Is Wesley Albritton come? He's in here. There you go, Tim. Mike Robbins. Mike from coming such a long way. I know you tried to keep Mike from coming. Oh, just Roddy, can you give this to James? Is there James Garner here? No. Jimmy Allen, I know who he was. He's still here. All right, pass him on over to him. Pass it down. Benny Pelletier. Benny, look at that. Pass it on over there. James Mashburn, trucking man. Where's he at? Johnny Kyne's one of the coaches. He didn't make it up then, but he was part of it. He was a lifting group. You need a Thomas, maybe? And one last one, Johnny Blackstock. Johnny's still here. Going out. Okay. I know this went on a little long, but I tell you what, we appreciate each and every one of you showing up, and maybe a little later on we'll do something bigger and better. Come here, Sarge, you're going to tell something. Now listen, you got to keep it under 2.5 minutes.
Good to see all of you. Some of you turned out a heck of a lot better than I thought you would. And I know most of you thought I was going to have to visit me in prison if you ever saw me again. But that's kind of like what the Lord can do for you. So I've had a great life with the Lord Jesus Christ, and the brownies are the reason for all of it. Thank you. If you look at my video, they'll right.
You ready to get started again?
This is my life.
When? You ready to get started? Okay.
My friend here doing the honorary brownie, he went to Easton, but he's ashamed of it. Don't tell Bill I said that. He's ashamed of it, so he's just adopted it. He has a friend who wants to go on a Disney trip. He makes these for $25 a piece. If you'll see Bill Ferris, or if you'll contact me on Facebook, I'll put you in connection with him, okay? I apologize for the Auburn thing, but you know, John needed something to brag about. So, thank you all, and we're good.
Just one last thing, some of the people here said we ought to do something a little bit after this. We're going to have a get together at Old Time Grill. If you know where that's at, it's a Jones Valley gathering spot. And some of you want to come. They do serve Cokes if you don't want to drink it. Anyway, I've got directions to it over here if you come see me. I've got a coupon. So anyway. Thank y'all. Oh, please give back your name tags. Yeah, thank y'all so much. Y'all be safe going home. Thank you.